Welcome to another episode of Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement. I am here at the News Forum where all voices matter. It's time for our monthly panel discussion, and not a moment too soon. There's so much going on in the economic and political world. So we're joined once again by the dynamic trio, the Honorable Joe Oliver, former Finance Minister and Natural Resources Minister in the Harper government, the Honorable Gary Marr, former Alberta Minister and Alberta Representative in Washington, and of course, Sandra Pupatello, a former Economic Development and Trade Minister in the Government of Ontario. Welcome to all of you.
Thank you. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year. Yeah, no, it's a time to get together. There's lots to talk about, and I'm just going to keep it as open-ended as possible. Joe Oliver, initial thoughts about Prime Minister Trudeau's intention to resign and the ensuing leadership race. Let's start with that.
Well, we have a long drawn out resignation, and normally it wouldn't matter too much. But unfortunately, Canada is confronting a very serious threat from the incoming president of the United States, which is a 25% tariff on everything coming from Canada into the U.S. If that actually held, we'd be right into a recession. There'd be hundreds of thousands of jobs lost, and it would be a very serious blow to the country. We would likely retaliate, and that would, drive us down to a kind of uh, a very bad cycle of damage to both economies, who are really more integrated than any two other economies in the world of any size. So I'm not suggesting this will necessarily happen, but what we've got is a president who can see weakness from 100 miles away, and what we have on our side is a exceptionally weak government, led by a prime minister who's announced his intention to resign, heading a party that is somewhere between 22 and 29% plus behind in the votes. So it doesn't have the moral authority or the mandate to negotiate. And this is a very bad time for Canada not to have a functioning government. And what if the prime minister had put country before party, he would have resigned and either gone into the House to be defeated or called an election right away, or at least indicated he was going to resign and have the election start within a month or so. So this just drags it out, and it's a very irresponsible thing to have done. Now, what happens next? There's going to be a huge debate within the party about where it goes and who should be the leader. There seem to be two leading candidates, one inside and one outside, Chrystia Freeland and Mark Carney. And it looks like from the outside that Carney has the edge. So we're going to see a few things happening. One is the legacy media will decide who they want. I think we already know, and that he or maybe she, less likely, will start to be lionized in the mainstream media. So wait for that, but you won't have to wait too long.
Sandra Pupatello, is Canada in quite the pickle right now because of what Joe described?
Well, I think we're in a position that we haven't been in before. So this really is new. And I think what's more concerning to me is regardless of who the prime minister would be, we're a confederation. We're not a republic. And that means what's critical is alignment amongst provinces who have enormous control over some of the major areas that is of greatest interest to the US. That is in mining, that is in energy. So these cross-border discussions have everything to do with the provinces. So the misalignment right now between Ontario and Alberta really worries me, whether that
Mhm.
was a new prime minister or the current one, that issue is the same. What can the feds make the provinces do if we collectively choose somehow to retaliate in a particular area? We have to have consensus, or we look like we're so busy fighting amongst ourselves that we forgot who, in this instant, the issue is in fact the US. So, just
Exactly.
recently we can hear um, Daniel Smith saying, "Oh well,
Yeah.
you want to cut the energy." Well, I'm sorry, but that's the same pipeline that goes
We're
to
going to have to
Ontario.
leave it at
Uh,
that for right now, Sandra. We're going to take a brief break. We'll be back with our guests after these messages.